Awesome. Here we
Just
go.
'cause it's gonna get.
I guess we were ready audio-wise a few minutes ago.
Hello and welcome. I'm Glimo. I'm the Keeper of the Chronicles for this Call of Cthulhu Masks of Nyarlathotep campaign on Roll20, streaming to Twitch and YouTube. Welcome to session 34 and the start of our final chapter in China. Some quick announcements. First, thanks to Creelsh, we have these snazzy new overlays and other artwork for Season 5. I'm also going to be playing in AP Gaming Reel's new Cyberpunk 2020 adventure starting a week from Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/apgamingreel and simulcast here on my channel. For tonight, we're going to kick off doing investigator development and then jump into your arrival in China. Egypt took 8 sessions. I expect that you will power through China in a similar amount of time, so we should finish the game before the holidays. After that, who knows what other trouble may happen in 2021. Okay, so starting with investigative development. First, your rewards for completing Egypt. So you didn't end up actually doing anything with the cultists, so none of those points. You did destroy Nitocris's mummy, so you get some sanity bonus for that. You did steal artifacts, so you get some sanity bonus from that. You did destroy one of the artifacts, so you get some sanity bonus for that. You never even met Agatha, so all of that falls out. And you did destroy a hunting horror, so you all get 18 points of sanity for finishing this chapter. You also all get 10 points of luck for completing this chapter.
All right, how much sanity again?
18.
18.
So what, double now, Alistair?
Almost.
Woo.
Oh, I have the perk that gives you an additional 1d10 luck recovery.
Oh, sure. So roll a d10 and you'll get that much extra luck.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm just glad to get the 10 points back because I blew a lot of luck to get that one spell off.
Yes, you did.
Sanity, I'm doing great.
Look at you, Alistair, in the 40s.
Up to 45. I'm almost 50-50 sane.
that probably gets you out of indefinite insanity. I was about to start throwing you into that, but I think you might be good for a little while.
It's the boat trip.
Yep.
It's so relaxing.
Jesse's having a bout of madness, apparently.
I wanted to know what that button did.
Okay. So now we level up. A reminder of how this works, and then we'll just go in order around the table. For every checkbox that you have, you get to roll that skill. This is the one time in Call of Cthulhu that you want to roll high. If you fail your roll or roll over 95 on a skill that you're super good at, then you improve your skill by 1d10 points. If you roll low, you gain nothing. And then you clear your checkboxes as you roll them. So the other thing is that you can choose any 2 skills that you already have put points into, make a power check, and if you pass, you get to improve by 1d6 points. And you can also put points into any skill that you don't have points into, so anything that you have just the default, you can make a power check, and if you pass, gain 1d10 points, and then you can test for a sanity recovery. Okay. Yes.
Out of curiosity here, I have the trait of smooth talker, which gets or languages, I should say. Would I be able to, if I wanted to learn Chinese, how would that influence that?
I don't remember how
Because
that's...
I'm a linguist.
Okay, I'm gonna look that up while Sean does Seamus's recoveries or skill rolls, and I will get back to you.
All right, thanks.
I don't remember how that. You don't happen to have a page number in?
No, I don't
Pulp,
have.
do you?
I'm in another room right now.
Okay. What is the talent called?
Linguist and smooth talker.
Linguist and smooth talker. Okay, great. Thank you. Sean, you want to go ahead and start making your rolls for Seamus?
Yeah, finally, it's catching up. Okay, so that is a failure on the charm. So much. Okay. Of course, I'm succeeding. Ooh, failure. It's a D10, right?
D10, yes.
Cool. 5 more points to firearms. Of course.
That's pretty much
You're
what I'll do.
succeeding whenever that you want to fail.
Yes. All right. Nice on that one.
There you go. You'll be spotting all the hidden things.
Wow, I actually failed that one.
Nice.
I was convinced I was going to succeed. Sweet. Okay, so that's it. And you said to choose 2 skills. So is it a power roll per?
You get to do power roll per for any 2 skills that you already have points in.
Okay. I am going to try one being stealth, since it seems to be coming in here. So let me try that. Nice. It's a D for that.
D6.
D6. And a 6 on my stealth.
Nice.
All right. And the secondary one, let's see here. I'm going to try for my persuasion. Let's see if we can do that. Okay. D6 again. Nice.
Perfect. And then you can pick any one skill that you don't have points in, make a power roll, and if you succeed, then you can gain a D10 of points in it.
All right. Let's try sleight of hand, I think, for
There you go.
is it a D4?
D10.
D10, sorry. Well, I got a 4 anyway.
There you go. Okay, and now lastly, as a sanity recovery, you make a sand check. If you pass, you regain 1d10 points of sand. If you fail, you lose 1 point of sand. All right. You get a hard, so I will say that means you get the full boat of 10 points of sanity.
Oh. Can't remember when I've been this sane.
Okay. Oren, you'll be next. I looked this up, so linguist only allows you to determine a language that's being spoken and gain a bonus die to language rolls. Smooth talker gives you a bonus die to charm rolls, so neither one of those have anything to do with learning new languages.
All right. I wasn't sure.
Um,
Had to ask. That's
Yep.
why I wanted to know.
I will say that if you want to, you can use your power roll for your learning something new.
Yeah, that's what I'll probably do.
George's character Martin speaks Chinese, so I could say that you could use your downtime to learn some from him if you make your power roll.
Yeah, I'll try it.
Okay.
But let's start with the stuff I need to figure that I have checked
Yep.
marked first.
Perfect.
All right. First of all, charm. All right. I like that. That works for me. So we'll do a quick D10. Oh, nice. So every little bit helps. Dodge. I like that too. Oh, well, a point is a point. I ain't going to complain. All right. Fighting brawl. All right. 1 point. And now firearms, handgun. Oh, that's a little bit better. All right. First aid. No, of course not. God forbid I get a first aid. All right. Is there anything else I've checked marked out down there? Now the library use? No, of course not. That would make too much sense. Listen. That's amusing. I'll take it though. Ooh, 9. I'm getting better at listening to things. Occult. Okay. Considering everything we just got through, that makes a lot of sense. Persuade? Nope. Psychology? Nope. Spot hidden? Nope. Stealth? Yes. So I've become a little bit more sneaky. Let's see, my Arabic. All right, well, that had happened. My Egyptian hieroglyphs. 4 more points. And my acting that we did once. No, so that might be useful. Ooh, yeah, I like that. Actor. All right. Well, considering we've been in a lot more melee, I'm going to use my first power one on handgun since we seem to be getting into a lot of combat. So I'll roll my power. Extreme.
Nice. I'll give you the whole 10.
All right, cool. That helps. That means I can actually possibly hit something. Oh, that's a tough one. What do I want to? Yeah, I will definitely try to do the other power on the skill I have as persuade. So I will see about that. Let me get up to my stats again. Good. So now I roll just a regular D10. Ooh, hot dice. So my persuade is, I got 60 persuade. It's nice to have. And I will definitely try to learn Chinese. And do I learn Chinese? Yes, I do. So that's a
D10.
D10. Okay. So D10. 9. Not bad. I'm not going to complain. That was a fairly good round.
Great. And now sanity recovery.
I'm at max.
Oh,
right
okay.
now.
Well, then I guess you don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked. I was like, you gave us 18 points. I was like, whoops.
Okay.
All right.
But I'm thinking I got an extra 18 that I can cast some spells in China with.
All right.
Great.
I'll mute myself so the next person can go.
Okay. George, go ahead and make your rolls for Martin.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Oh well. Let's see. Oh. Oh, that's good.
Great. What were you going for?
Chinese.
Okay.
Because I figure if it's gonna come up now, it'll come up. It'll be used.
Perfect. So I'll say that you get the full 6 points.
Okay.
Ni hao, kung fu.
And one which I haven't put any points into. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. See if I can drive a car. Yes.
Okay. Bill, go ahead and roll for Alistair. Oh,
All right.
sorry. You can. Sorry. George, you can also take, if you want to, take a sanity recovery roll.
Oh.
Make a sanity check. If you pass, fumble, you lose 1 point of sanity.
Oh wow. It was inevitable.
All right. Alistair.
Okay, here we go. That's a good thing. Let's do 10. 10. 7.
Great.
First aid. Hooray.
Look at you guys getting better at shit.
5. All right, what's the next one? Occult. Woohoo! Only 3. Better than a stick in the eye. Nice. That one. No on that one. No on that one. And that's all my check marks.
Okay.
All right, so my
You can make 2 power checks to try and improve an existing skill.
okay. We got stealth. Fail. And what's the other one I was going to do? Disguise. And
Okay, and then you can pick one skill that you don't have points in and make a power check.
all right, we're going to do. Let's go with natural world.
All right, you get 10 points in Natural World. And then
Okay.
you can decide whether or not you want to try to make a sanity recovery. You roll sanity. If you pass, you gain a d10. If you fail, you lose 1 point.
It's almost 50-50 like that. I failed.
You lose 1 point.
1 point. That was worth the gamble. All right.
All right. Carl, rolling for Jesse.
All right, let's see here. Character sheet. Hard success.
Of course. Hey, your handgun goes up.
At 5. Library use, hard success. Some kind of.
You got better at ears.
Failed. Apparently, I'm only rolling d5s. Wait, what was that? Psychology. Spotting some hiddens. Spot all the hiddens. Okay, now what am I doing? I'm rolling POW a bunch of times.
Yes, you get to make 3 power checks,
All right.
2 for existing.
I will try to improve climb. I am a terrible climber. I will try to improve. Wait, this is stuff that I already have points in, right?
Yes. The first 2 are for ones that you already have
I will
points
try
in.
to improve dodge. Yay. Yay? No.
No.
Wait. Do I want to fail or do I
You
want to
want to
succeed?
succeed.
Oh, so.
So your hard
okay.
success, I'll say you get the max, so you get 6 points.
All right, so I get to put 6 points on climb. And then I failed on the dodge. And then what do? I roll.
Then you roll 1 more power, and this is for something that you have not put any points in to learn it.
Not put any points in at all. I mean, this is kind of a throwaway thing. Everything else sucks so hard. Trying to think of what I haven't put any points in. I have points in all. Okay, I will try intimidate, I guess.
There you go.
Straight.
You get 10 points in Intimidate.
Oh, so fierce.
And now you can make a sanity recovery roll
sanity
if you
check.
choose. You lose 1 point of sanity.
I should have just let that go.
Okay.
How do I fail at 80%? All right, I think that's it.
Great. Okay. So, after realizing you lost 6 months, you decided there was no time left to lose. You sent a telegram to Carlton Ramsey to let him know that you're still alive and to please wire money to Port Said. You took a train to Port Said, picked up your money, and booked passage on the first ship you could find. Paranoia was setting in. Several times, Alistair thought he saw the Black Pharaoh's face in the crowd. Jesse thought he caught sight of inverted Ankhs. It was definitely time to leave. Is there anything else that you want to do with your downtime on the ship? Study any books, play with any artifacts, or anything else?
I think I will make contact with using the apparatus on the ship to maybe set up a contact in China, since I do believe England still has some contacts espionage wise or over there, and say where I'm heading, and let me know who I'm supposed to or this is where I'm going. Probably set up a hotel for us too.
Okay. Your contacts don't have a whole lot of people on the ground in China, but they can at least recommend a hotel, and they tell you that normally you could get a permit for pistols, but long guns wouldn't be allowed into the country. But your friends tell you which custom officials are susceptible to bribes, so you should be able to get all your things through. The ports of Shanghai and Hong Kong are both under British control at this point in time. So you'll be able to get your things through with a judicious bribe, but carrying long guns in the city itself is forbidden. So just so that you folks know that.
And whoever we contact, they give me as a contact. What I need to know is, what do I need to know about the situation there? What I should be aware of amongst the gangs and the politics and the.
I'm going to give you guys a whole rundown on that momentarily.
All right, thanks.
But is there anything that you would like to do as far as playing with any of your toys? As far as trying to learn spells, read books, play with mythos artifacts, things that are going to make you lose more sanity.
Well, since I have such a high sanity, I might as well lose some. Is there a spell that I don't have the list in front of me? Is there a spell that I think might be useful to have?
You would have to tell me. You have a number of books.
All right. Is there one that deals with a fog or something like that? If I remember correctly, produces like a. I remember something like that.
Let me see if I can find that quickly. That sounds like something that.
And that's the one with a few ones besides the torch one. It seems to stick in my head. There was something which did an obscurement or fog.
It's basically the Call of Cthulhu version of obscuring mist.
That might be useful for us.
I marked in my notes that I think I should read the Book of Dazan, I read the Book of Dazan, and I should learn the 3 call forth spells that are in there. So I think I might have to learn those. Call forth
Okay.
the child of the wood, call forth the wind spirit, and call forth the unseen walker.
That
Sure.
sounds so awesome.
Thought the only other thing I would probably want to know is, since we had Nodens help us before, might be good to know something about Nodens as well. So if there's a spell that deals with that, I might as well learn that one too. Never hurts to have a little bit more help. And I figure that will take up most of my time.
Yeah, Nodens and I are like old pals.
You do not have anything that's going to help you with Nodens.
Okay. Well,
Let me find out if there's anything here. What was the fog one? Okay.
Yeah, so I did learn the wisdom of the void out of the Book of Design, and then there were 3 other call forth spells that I didn't. So I think
Yeah.
I
So
think that's what my notes are saying.
okay. So I will say that you've done the initial reading on the book. So I will say that over the month that you're going to be at sea, you just managed to get that done.
a month.
And I do definitely remember that there was a spell in one of these books, but I am having trouble finding it in my notes right now. Let's see if I can find it really quickly.
While you're doing that, if I could pull the other party members, is there any sort of weird science or device that you might think useful that you would like me to try to cobble together in the month I'm on the boat? If not, I have an idea.
Uh-oh. He's got an idea.
Age of Cthulhu.
I learned contact the winged one and contact the mind of the observer from the Panoptic manuscript.
Yes.
And I also learned create Simba from Africa's Dark Sects.
Yes, you did.
And let's see, I don't think there was anything in Life as a God or Amongst the Stones. Yeah, Life as a God, it says no spells. I'm just looking at my notes for all the books that I've taken here.
This is what I get for being in a different room. My notes are not easily available. I'm trying to think of an item that
I believe that it was in Liber Ivonus. There is a spell called Commandment of Air, which is it's basically an obscuring mist type spell. So if you make you've already done an initial reading of this book, I believe.
Yes.
So I just need an intelligence roll from you.
All right.
This is a ancient tome.
All right, I'll do my intelligence roll now. Let's see if I can figure things out or not. Yes, extreme.
There you go. Okay, you learn the spell.
All right.
So what I can tell you about this spell, as far as things that you need to know about it, where is my grimoire section? Okay, 242. Really, all of that? It isn't actually in. Oh, you know what? It's probably. They're just gonna be difficult. Normally, I love the Chaosium physical books, but for finding spells, it is really a pain in the butt. Where the hell is the spell? Alright, I will find that spell. I don't know where it is. So your the summoning spells that you learn for Alistair, they work in the same way that the rest of your summoning spells work.
Okay, so the sacrifice 5 POW, 1d6 sanity.
1d sorry. So for regular monsters, so this would be, a regular creature one as opposed to a god. It is 1d4 sanity, and it takes 5 minutes per so you spend however many magic points you want between 1 and 10. Each magic point you spend gives you a 10% chance of success. And the casting time is 5 minutes per magic point spent. This will summon the creature, and then if you want to bind the creature, that is a separate ritual which takes an additional round, and you typically need some sort of separate binding that oftentimes you need a material component for that. Book of Design. What binding? What things did this have in it? Book of Design. You have Call Forth the Wind Spirit. So you know that for this spell, you need to blow a whistle during your chanting, and the spell is only active on nights when the constellation Aldebaran is above the horizon, which is typically October through March. And the whistle is also used in the binding. And then for Call Forth the Unseen Walker, this you realize as you learn this spell that you really needed those daggers that you left in Egypt, because that is what is used in the summoning and binding of these creatures. And Otherwise, you'll have to make your own pure copper, iron, or silver dagger in order to perform this ritual. And then what was the last one that you had? Call forth child of the wood. Um, you need a beast of at least size 40, which must be sacrificed. You need a knife to make ritual cuts in dispatching the victim. You cast the spell outdoors in a wood during the dark of the moon. And to do the binding itself for any of these creatures, then you need to make an opposed power roll with the creature that you summon.
All right, let's get nuts.
That is what those spells do. I don't understand what happened to this fog spell. Um, it says that the spell is supposed to be here, but it's not in either the Keeper's book or the spells that are specifically written for this adventure, so I don't know what happened to this spell. I'll have to during you won't need it for tonight, and I will during the off time pull something together, then try and figure out what a proper cost and casting time is for it. I don't understand what happened to this spell, but I'm sure I can pull something together. I just don't want to do it on the fly here. And yeah, okay. Anybody want to do anything else? Seamus, you're gonna try to do some weird science. Is that what I'm hearing?
Maybe. I just wanted to check so to make sure there's any requests or anything like that. Okay.
I take a look. No, go ahead, because I don't have any ideas.
I was just thinking based on how we get into the middle of nowhere and dark items and things like that with the need for torches instead of me having to spend luck to make sure we have equipment. If I could come up with something along the lines of, chemical glow sticks or something I could keep in the pack that we could, break out for something in early days that maybe also, can hurl or do damage or something along those lines. As I was wondering, is how pulpish would that be to have like early versions of something that shake it up and there we go. or mix it together.
Sounds like a good idea.
Why don't you just create Greek fire?
Can it explode if you shake it a different way? Or break another
Shake it
tab?
up. Oh.
It's basically napalm, right?
Hey,
I mean-
before this adventure is over, I am going to get my explosion.
You know, I don't think you even need weird science for that. I mean, you've got demolitions. You can,
Yeah.
you know, if you want to make yourself some Greek fire or napalm, you certainly can. I would say that weird science would definitely be, you know, letting you make some glow sticks, since
Mhm.
you know those aren't going to be invented for 50 more years or so.
Yeah.
Can they be glow sticks powered by Eldritch Horror?
You should make like a drone or something, like that's wirelessly controlled. That would be pretty cool. And you could drop the Greek fire on them.
I don't want to think about the number of steps of things I'd have to invent to get to that point.
Yeah, that would take, you know, close to a year to make.
We love
So-
surveillance. Make surveillance equipment.
I will say that you definitely have the money and the time in order to do your you would probably need science chemistry, although do you have any sciences?
Engineering.
I'll allow for a science engineering roll.
Okay.
Extreme. Yes, you are able to make a large quantity of glow sticks for all your raving needs.
Just don't drink it.
Oh, it's like I said, you end up in darkness so much.
Oh, Martin actually, part of his backstory is after he was with the French in World War One, he fought for the Chinese nationalist government for a number of years.
Okay.
So could he reach out to anyone he might know who's still over there in the Nationalist Army or the Kuomintang government?
I will allow it. What are you looking to find out?
I guess the situation on the ground, how we can smuggle our guns and other things.
Okay. I will definitely say between your contacts and Lewis's contacts, you're able to smuggle all your stuff in. You are likewise warned that you can't just be walking around Chinese cities carrying long guns. That's going to raise a lot of questions and probably end up with you being arrested. But you can certainly, you know, conceal carry a pistol under your coat, and no one's going to notice. But you can get your rifles, shotguns into the city, and stow them at your hotel room. And you know, if the shit hits the fan, you'll at least have them. Just you might get in trouble if you're carrying them around, so you want to use those sparingly. Anything else that you all are doing on the ship?
I have a month. Well, yeah. Oh, are there any components for that new spell that I learned?
I'm gonna have to get back to you
Oh,
on that.
Yeah, get back to that. But if there is, I'm going to try to set that up so I have the stuff ready.
Okay.
I don't want to be
Alright.
caught like the last time with the torch issue.
Okay, so the sea voyage takes you through the Suez Canal to Aden, Bombay, Ceylon, Singapore, and Hong Kong before arriving in Shanghai. Modern China was born almost accidentally, in part due to the collapse of the dynastic system which had ruled the country for millennia, but also as a consequence of the continual interference of external imperial powers and the fallout from the Great War. For its nominal assistance during the war, the 1919 Treaty of Versailles generously handed Japan all of Germany's rights and possessions in China's Shandong province, in accordance with agreements wrung from China by Japan under duress in 1915. Since China had agreed to support the Allies during the conflict on the understanding that these territories would be returned if they were victorious, this patronizing insult galvanized Chinese intellectuals into action. The Peking demonstrations of May 4th, 1919 led to the formation of the May 4th movement, used to describe the nationwide outbursts that followed. The movement not only launched the Chinese Communist Party, but also revivified Chiang Kai shek's nationalist KMT party. The two parties became implacable enemies as they grew in strength, and their internal wars paralyzed China for the next half century. Hong Kong. Originally a quiet backwater, Hong Kong rose to prominence as a result of British forces annexing the island in 1841 during the First Opium War. The Treaty of Nanking, which ended the conflict, ceded the island to the British in perpetuity. The rest of the Kowloon Peninsula soon followed as a result of its occupation during the Second Opium War, and the new territories and the third and final part of the British Crown Colony of Hong Kong was granted to Queen Victoria under a 99-year lease in 1898. Hong Kong began to flourish under the British thanks to its status as a free port, and the colony grew slowly but steadily throughout the 20th century on the back of trade and commerce. It also became a major financial center, along with Shanghai. Besides English, the main language spoken in Hong Kong is Cantonese. Shanghai, originally an undistinguished small city in Gansu province, the British opened Shanghai to occupation and trade as a result of the Treaty of Nanking in 1842, which brought a humiliating conclusion to the piratical Opium Wars, at least as far as China was concerned. First British, then French and American representatives took possession of certain areas adjacent to the Chinese city. These areas of extraterritoriality, within which no Chinese law pertained, became known as the concessions. In 1854, the three concessions formed the Shanghai Municipal Council, or SMC, to jointly oversee their affairs. By 1863, the British and American concessions had joined together to form the Shanghai International Settlement. The French concession, directly between the British concession and the old original Chinese walled city, was never formally amalgamated, preferring to see its own management. When Japan later received a small concession in Shanghai, Chinese public opinion was much inflamed, for this opened up the prospect of further pillaging of the Middle Kingdom. Under the terms of extraterritoriality, frequently shortened to extrility, citizens of Britain, France, and the USA, along with those other favored treaty powers, Denmark, Italy, Japan, Mexico, the Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, Spain, Peru, Spain, and Switzerland, could only be tried under the laws of their native country, whether crimes were committed in the concessions or not. Chinese citizens and those of non-favored treaty countries such as Germany were prosecuted according to Chinese law in local courts. Together, the side-by-side French, British, and American zones formed the financial and industrial heart of the mushrooming city. By the 1920s, Shanghai had acquired two nicknames, the Pearl of the Orient and the Paris of the East, in honor of its opulence and decadence. Legal tender. The Chinese adopted dollars in the form of the yuan as their official currency in the late 1880s. As a result, Mexican silver dollars are widely accepted, as they are in other locations around the world. Each for game purposes, treat 1 British pound sterling as worth $5 or 10 yuan. $1 is the equivalent of 2 yuan. And I'm going to say that US dollars and Mexican dollars are the same for ease of gameplay, because I don't want to turn this into just a game of money changing. Okay, Shanghai is built on the delta of the Yangtze River, making the land upon which it stands alluvial and nearly flat. Shanghai is also a low city with dikes and seawalls protecting against flood, tide, and storm. In fact, Shanghai's most illustrious and sought-after business address, the Bund, formerly a towpath, was originally built as a stone and earth dike. The water table is very high and drainage is difficult. Obtaining pure water and disposing of sewage are recurring problems. The international settlement run by the SMC forms the core of Shanghai's business and trade operations. The Bund, the city's equivalent of Wall Street, runs from the Garden Bridge in the north to the Rue de Consulat in the south. The settlement has its own police force, the Shanghai Municipal Police, as well as the multinational Shanghai Volunteer Corps, usually brought out at times of civil unrest, which happens frequently in the 20s. The Shanghai Municipal Police was originally formed from a contingent of British policemen from Hong Kong, backed up by members of the Metropolitan Police Force, London, and the Royal Irish Police Force. Later it added both Sikh and Japanese units, although the majority of the force consists of low-ranking Chinese bobbies. Like the city's French police, the SMP is heavily infiltrated by local criminal gangs, such as the Green Gang. The French concession was home to most of the city's writers, adventurers, and gangsters who operated with the full cooperation of that concession's police, especially during the period under the force's senior Chinese detective and gangster pockmarked Huang. The concession also had a thriving opium trade after the international settlement banned the narcotic within its jurisdiction in 1918. Throughout China, precautions against thievery and banditry were routinely kept, which would have been astonishing in Western cities today. High blank walls and stout gates hid rich homes, windows were universally barred, everyone employed guards and watchmen. Large and profitable businesses operated in seeming squalor. At the office, wealthy bankers wore clothing worse than that of their clerks. As a result, investigators must look closely and thoughtfully to know who is powerful, who is poor, and who pretends to be one state or another. Only the largest buildings were higher than 3 stories. Most were what locals called shikumen, low-rise tenements built in the 1900s. It was in one such Shanghai shikumen in the French concession that the Chinese Communist Party was formed in 1921. The old city is riddled with longtang, tiny alleyways, while the French concession lined with boulevards reminiscent of Paris. English serves fairly well within the international settlement, so long as the investigators keep their questions simple, such as, where is this? The uniformed Chinese patrolmen are courteous and eager to please. There's a small phone book, and government buildings, better hotels, and prosperous businesses all have copies, as well as possessing the only public payphones. Local telegraph services and the mail are reliable, and within the city, private couriers cost less than the price of a stamp and are quicker. In reality, you would need to speak several different dialects, including Shanghainese, Mandarin, and Cantonese in order to get around outside the settlement. But this is a pulp game, and I'm going to hand wave and say that Martin and any other Chinese speakers can all understand each other just fine. Okay, that's your quick primer of what you know about 1920s China. It takes you a month from emerging from the bent pyramid to arriving in China. You try to put ashore in Hong Kong, but the port is closed due to plague running rampant in the city. You have no choice but to stay on the ship until it arrives in Shanghai. You land on Tuesday, December 1st, 1925. Where are you staying, and what are you doing?
Well, I did said that I tried to set up the hotel for us ahead of time on the boat. So
Okay. You managed to get yourself set up then at a decent hotel in the American sector of the international settlements.
before we get off the boat, I'm just thinking, gentlemen. It seems that one of the former members of the missing group is being sought by the cultists, and that would be Jack Brass. I'm thinking maybe since we have this matchbook and we have an idea that he's still alive, maybe we should be try to hunt him down. We probably have more information about him than the cult does. And since they're after him, I'm assuming to get rid of him, he might, the enemy of my enemy is our friend. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I definitely think we should be tracking him down.
Are we in the middle of the street? What's all the background noise?
I think our wonderful keeper is providing us atmosphere.
It's simulationism.
Exactly.
Could track down some General Gao chicken.
Actually, that's not an authentic Chinese dish. Wait, what is the date again?
Okay.
December 1st, 1925.
Mugu Gai
It's
Pan.
horrible. December in Shanghai is horrible. Cold and humid. It's super bad.
Yeah, I hate to tell you guys this, but he's right. Most of the dishes we're used to Chinese-wise are all Americanized. Horribly Americanized.
Do we have leads on Brady?
Yeah, I do believe it was called the Stumbling Tiger Bar.
Yeah, we had that matchbook.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And for a drink?
you found a matchbook in Jackson Elias's hotel room after he was brutally murdered. That points you to the Stumbling Tiger Bar. I believe this was America's 3.
Oh. I advise everyone in the party that to be super careful, because if Shanghai in 1925 is like it is now, you're all gonna have a big target pinned on your backs. And someone's gonna try to scam you.
Yeah, so I'm
So, yeah,
thinking,
we'll try not to get shanghaied.
yeah, we'll go to the hotel, and then I say we should probably check when we get a chance. Check out this Stumbling Tiger Bar. So, considering that they were trying to hunt him down, I say that we try to be, if we can, subtle about this.
Be on the lookout for the girl with the green eyes.
Yes. Hold on, that's Lopan.
David Lopan, yes.
Okay, so you are heading to the Stumbling Tiger Bar?
Well, after we stop at the hotel to drop off
Yeah.
our stuff.
Okay. Okay, you get checked into your hotel, get yourselves cleaned up, and then you're heading to the Stumbling Tiger?
Mm-hmm.
Is it in the international settlement or the French concession?
The Stumbling Tiger Bar is... I believe this is still in the international settlement, but I am gonna check here on this here map that I got here. How does this not have that? Alright. It's northeast of the Wangpu and Shozu rivers. So yeah, so it's gotta be in the settlement. I think it's right kind of over here. Yeah, so it's right up over here, and so that is definitely within the international settlement. Okay. Martin, while you were talking to your friends, do you mention the stumbling tiger?
Yeah.
Okay. So they tell you that this is a puzzle talk bar, or a place where information is regularly sold for money. So just northeast of the confluence of the Wangpu and Sochao rivers is a district of bars, gambling dens, and flower girl houses, convenient to the docks and factories of the former American concession. At 10 Lantern Street is the Stumbling Tiger Bar, identified by both Chinese and English signs and the image of a drunken tiger tripping over a stone. The Stumbling Tiger is a single room plus a separate toilet. Both rooms are large, dark, and dirty. Lurid green and magenta posters of Chinese songstresses and film stars decorate the walls. The light is simultaneously harsh and inadequate. Decades of cigarette smoke and missed shots at spittoons give the air a heavy, damp, moldering quality. Any of you with more than a 50% on first aid or any points in medicine are no doubt reminded of the dangers of tuberculosis as soon as you step in the door. There are a few men inside, including at least one Japanese foreman who appears quite drunk. Behind the bar, polishing a glass with a surprisingly clean rag, is the bartender. He is a squat Eurasian man with nicotine-stained fingers and an unconvincing smile. His accent is a very strange mix of Chinese and Scottish. And he says to you, "Welcome to my bar. I am Fergus Chum, but everyone calls me McChum. What can I do for you, gentlemen?"
Ask them for some baijiu. It's local liquor.
I will take a scotch.
Same here.
Ah, very good, gentlemen. Highlands, lowlands.
Islands.
Same.
I'll go with a smoky Isla.
Now there's a man after my own heart. Someone who's not afraid of a little bit of smoke.
It'll be a few years before they run out of peat. I just read an article that they're running low on peat, and it takes thousands of years to create more. So peated scotch may become more expensive.
I just found a cider place here in Ontario that delivered in one day cider that they age in rum barrels.
Very
and
nice.
whiskey, and they have another line where they age in whiskey barrels.
Bill and I
So
had
I had to.
some of that when we were in Bristol years and years and years ago on that cider barge.
So I had to order one of everything that they make.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the old Bristolian. That
The
was
old
like
Bristolian. Oh God.
half. They only gave half pints because it was so high in ABV.
What was it like 30 proof?
Something like that. Yeah, it was just shy of being like distilled liquor. Yeah.
Okay. So McChum gets you your drinks. And says, hope you don't mind me saying, gentlemen, but some of you look like you might not be from around here. What
No.
what brings you here?
Tourism.
Boat.
A colleague of ours had traveled here some time ago,
Actually, we
and
had-
we're just following his footsteps, so to speak.
Considering we had a friend of ours recommended this bar.
Really? Who was it? I might know the name.
Sure, we'll tell them it's Jackson Elias.
Okay. So
Out of character, wasn't it Brady who went to this bar?
you found the matchbook in Jackson's room.
Do we get any sense of a reaction from once we give Elias
Why am I not
Jackson's
hearing
name to
anyone?
the gentleman?
So hold on one second, guys. I'm hearing that the stream can't hear you guys. Okay. So you mentioned
Hello?
okay. So you mentioned Jack Brady, and he just he looks at you and says,
This is weird.
"Sorry, not. What's going on, Oren?" Okay, so you mentioned Jackson Elias, and he, so McChum kind of shrugs his shoulders and says, "I can't rightly say I remember that name, but I do get a lot of folk through here. When was your friend here?"
Given the rough time period that we have,
So year and a half, 2 years ago.
yeah, we mentioned he was also maybe here with another associate, and we dropped Brady's name.
Okay. So he kind of looks at you guys and motions you down to the far end of the bar, away from everybody else. Um, and he lowers his voice and says, I'm not really sure how you got." Lewis apparently can't hear us. You guys can all hear me, right?
Yes.
Yep, I hear you.
Okay. Okay, so while Yeah, well, Oren's trying to get his headphones working. Um, okay, so, uh,
I switched over just to my computer's microphone and speaker. Let me know if you get feedback.
okay.
Sorry, I don't know what happened. It just stopped working.
No problem. Okay, so McChum takes you down to the. When you mention Jack Brady, McChum kind of waves you down to the end of the bar, away from the rest of the patrons, and lowers his voice and says, "Now there's a name I haven't heard in a while. How do you fellas know Jack Brady?"
Hmm. Well,
Question.
I was going to say, mostly through Jackson. Cats, I don't believe we have ever, and anybody here actually met the gentleman directly?
Well, Brady, he's just kind of an enigma in himself, It's a complicated thing.
So
I mean, we can kind of be vague about it. It's him. He's always off on some crazy adventure, looking for something strange and dragging acquaintances in with him and getting into all kinds of trouble.
So the bartender kind of gives you a hard look at this point. Um, I'm gonna need a persuade roll. Um, Martin gets the feeling that, especially from what his friends told him, that, this, because this is a kind of bar that you could, can buy secrets in, perhaps a little bit of cash might sweeten the deal here.
Okay.
Well, let me just see if I lay out. Nope, I don't have any.
Want me to do my credit
I
rating?
mean, you guys have cash. You picked up money before you left. It's just, are you
And we
gonna?
know.
Give him some money.
Yeah, I'm gonna. What would I consider would be an appropriate tip for this area, considering the monetary values?
Uh, Martin knows that, for getting, normal secrets out of a bar like this, you're typically looking at like $10 to get big secrets. It's gonna be, 20 to 30. Really big secrets are gonna be more.
I'm gonna. I'm gonna put down a $30 then.
Okay.
Not the down, but I just slide it over when I'm, underneath my glass.
Okay.
Get some scotch out of that while you're at it. Keep the change.
So McChum kind of lowers his voice and tells you, the last time I talked to Brady, he said he was leaving for Rangoon to carry out a deal with someone called Charlie Gray. I know that Gray is a big money man down there, and the deal probably has something to do with guns. I didn't really want to ask further. There are some things you're better off not knowing too much about. Right, my friends?
Absolutely.
Um,
I say, well, if you can get him in contact with us, um, that way he can decide whether he wants to talk to us.
well, if I do ever hear back from him, or if he comes in, I'll let you know. But as I said, I haven't seen him in quite some time, and I don't know how long he'll be gone on this business deal. Brady, it's not unlike him to disappear for weeks or months at a time.
Oh, yeah, that we are fairly aware of. But to be honest, there's always figured that was going to be the case when you travel around the world to come see somebody like Brady, if you know what I mean.
Do you guys want to make any checks at this point?
Yeah, I want to do a psychology, seeing if I'm being given the typical B shit bullshit.
We lost Carl.
Yeah, I'm going to do a psychology check.
Okay.
I succeeded.
Nice.
You believe that McChum isn't being entirely honest with you.
All right. Yeah. I'm going to slip him another 10 on top of what I've already given him and go. I said, we understand that our friend has not only really good friends, but also some people that might, not like him so much. And I want him and you to feel as comfortable as possible, which is why I made the suggestion of him contacting us. That way he can check us out first. And if he feels it's feasible, then, that's great. And that way his safety is taken care of. I say, this is where we're staying today. I'm quite sure if he wants to get a hold of us, he can figure a way of contacting us there. But this way, it puts the ball in his court and, allows him to make the decision whether to see us.
Very good. Well, if I do see him again, I will be sure to pass your information along.
Right. But I gather, and I said, yeah. And so, how are things in general around here? Who do we need to keep an eye on? I'm quite sure that certain groups, particularly, and I know that the Chinese are very suspicious of the Japanese, but is there anything that it would be wise for us newcomers here might want to be aware of or avoid?
Biggest thing that you're going to want to keep in mind is that especially outside of the settlements, I just got a text from Carl. He lost his internet and he's trying to get back online. The biggest thing that you need to be aware of is that Europeans aren't exactly looked upon terribly fondly outside of the international settlement, so you're going to need to watch your back. Keep your head down. If you're doing less than honest dealings, make sure you know who you're dealing with. What business other than looking for absent friends brings you to Shanghai?
I look at the other with me, tying
Yes.
up loose ends for our friend Jackson Elias.
Give me a second. I know there's something. Just going through the handouts. Nope. I may recall the name of where that thing was getting shipped to.
Oh yeah, not a second. Well, there is one other that we have heard good. We one of the things that Elias Jackson mentioned left with us, and we wanted to get your bent on it. Is I do believe an import export business run by, and I write down the name. So he understands I'm not going to say it out loud. And I do believe it's Ho Fang. Am I remembering that correctly, guys? And I look at him and go, I just want to know if that's good news or bad news.
Looking at my notes.
Hey, Carl's back.
Am I correct on what I remembered there? It was Ho Fang?
Sounds right. I'm looking. I've got my stuff so mixed up at this point.
Export business. I just don't have my notes in front of me.
Ho Fang Import Export.
All right.
For a dozen crates on the Ivory Wind.
Those are good times.
So, McChum, his eyes flit nervously around the bar to see who's,
I
to
wrote
see
it
if
down.
anyone's
Yeah,
watching
I wrote it
you
down, so I
guys.
don't say it. I wrote it down. So that way,
Like as weird as he got when you mentioned Brady, like he's definitely seems extremely nervous about when you mention or when you write down, Ho Fang's name.
Looks like someone that we need to avoid, doesn't it?
He says he's a very dangerous man. He has many contacts in the international settlement. He's untouchable by local Chinese officials. His house, located in the French concession, is like a fortress.
He's like that gangster guy at the start of Temple of Doom.
That more dangerous, probably.
He's probably got some eldritch horrors working for him too.
I have the antidote, Dr. Jones.
So I said, so what you're telling me is basically someone to avoid.
Yes, if at all possible.
Now would be a good time for the Greek fire.
I'm trying to think, what else did we get information about over here?
Well, if you have to burn something down to its ground and salt the ashes, so be it.
I said, oh, I know it. If I have it, I'm going to pull out the picture of the ship around a couple Chinese ships and go, do you know anyone that would be able to give me an idea what, and I point to the obviously European style vessel might be?
Gotta pull this up myself.
This is something else that Mr. Jackson left for us. Like I said, we were just trying to tie up some loose ends that he left.
Okay, yes, I have that picture. It is America's 4. He says, yes, I recognize that boat. It's called the Dark Mistress. It's a large steam yacht. It occasionally pulls into Shanghai to take on supplies. Its crew is particularly depraved and odd-looking, like frogs. Uh, though it flies a Union Jack, uh, I think perhaps it's coming from someplace else.
They got the Innsmouth look.
I was gonna say
They're
England, the other England.
from Innsmouth, Massachusetts.
I'm told that the owner is an Englishman, Alfred Penhurst, but no one's ever seen him. He must be very wealthy to own such a luxurious boat, and a very wicked man to hire such a terrifying crew.
Put that in the past tense.
I think that the vessel is cultist operated and comes from Grey Dragon Island.
Did he say cultist?
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe that it belongs to the Order of the Bloated Woman.
Oh, just between you and me, Penhu, you can put him in the past tense.
Penhurst, Alfred Penhurst.
Yes.
It's a little bit too close to.
A little different than Penhurst, Penhu.
Yeah.
Yeah, we already took care of the Penhu Foundation. Let's take care of the Penhurst now.
Really? They're two different?
Yeah, the one in London was the Penhu. This guy's Penhurst.
Yeah, but it's too close.
It is close.
Way too close.
Okay. I honestly thought they were the same guy this whole time.
I'm thinking
This
that
is the
must
first
be
time you've heard this name.
Okay.
I'm just thinking the person just changed their name a little bit. I mean, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay, so I've been making a massive mistake all the way through here, which is entirely possible.
That's all right. I forget things in this game too.
So he kind of looks down at the money that you gave him and says, so Grey Dragon Island, every few weeks, junks sail from Shanghai to Grey Dragon Island. It's a coastal atoll, unusually in the region because it's crowned by a dormant volcanic cone. The island is so called because grayish smoke occasionally rises from the peak. Strange things are said to happen on the island, and local fishermen would rather risk death from storms than put in there, even in an absolute emergency. Twice someone paid fishermen to survey the island. Both boats and their crews were lost, disappearing without a trace. Funnily enough, no one seems keen to go back for a third attempt.
I feel very much like this is like one of those Bond movies. And what is this cult of the? So what is this cult? What is this?
Bloated woman.
Yeah.
So he, again, kind of looks around to make sure no one's appears to be eavesdropping on you and says, it's a group that practices dark rituals. Their patron is a 600-pound figure of a woman that has tentacles for arms.
Would that be very much like one of the statues we found? Asking the keeper here, like one of the statues we saw in the basement of the Penhu Foundation?
It might indeed be, yes.
Because I remember that we found several very disturbing statues or bronzes there. I think one of them was of some.
Yes, that does sound like something that was in one of the crates that you found.
Okay.
He tells you that he believes that that the cult is involved in a number of killings throughout Shanghai, and that he believes that they perform rituals on Grey Dragon Island.
Sounds like a group we should definitely stay away from. What about the local gangs and politics here? And what anything we should be staying away from or be aware of?
Well, stay away from all of it if you can. The green the Green Gang runs most of the important things in Shanghai, including several of the Flower Girl houses. They've got their fingers in that, the opium trade, you name it. They're definitely the most powerful of the street gangs, and you want to keep your distance from them if you can.
Are the Green Gang one of the Shanghai triads, or are they just street thugs?
Uh, I'm not sure that the triads exist at this point. At least it's not provided in any of the notes that I was able to unearth. But they're definitely one of the most powerful street gangs uh, in Shanghai at this point, and they've heavily infiltrated the Shanghai Municipal Police.
Hmm. Are the municipal police, is that for Shanghai City or the international settlement?
The SMP is uh that is the police force for uh the settlement.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Okay. Anything else that you would like to talk to McChum about?
Uh, since Brady is basically a mercenary for hire, which is exactly what Martin is as well, um, would he or would I know any of the people who would have outfitted him for his mission to Rangoon?
Uh is there's not streetwise in this system. I would say make a luck roll. Hard luck. Okay. So you have heard of this Charlie Gray guy. You know that uh, he is an arms dealer, and you know that uh, he's like the man to know. Um, but you also know that Rangoon would be a several weeks sea voyage from Shanghai.
Um,
Hello?
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, there. I just was. I got my headphones working again.
Excellent.
Did the barkeep tell us when Brady left for Rangoon?
He told you it was a few weeks ago.
The people that they sent out to do these, the ships, right? To do that, they lost the crew in a. Who did that?
It was geological surveyors.
Okay.
They've paid some local fishermen to try to go out there so that they could get better maps of the island and the atolls around it, and both times the ships never came back.
Okay, so there's nothing like from the looks of it, there's nothing like the enemy of my enemy is my friend type of deal that we could get going here.
Well, I'm thinking this. I'll let you guys know once we get to the bar, but I have some ideas where we might be able to get some maps of the place.
Mm.
I'm going. Any upcoming festivals coming up? Trying to go to.
No, it's a fairly quiet time of the year now until February when New Year's will be celebrated.
Actually, I have one question. It's not necessarily for him, but it's something that we should know. When's the next full moon?
The moon was full last night as you came into port. You know that the next new moon is going to be the 15th into the night of the 15th into the 16th, and the next full moon after that will be New Year's Eve.
Okay. And I have something once we're out of the bar. It's not for here. That I want to discuss with the rest of the guys.
Since we paid this barkeep $30, which is a huge amount of money for the time, does he also happen to know if there have been any like disappearances or murders or anything like that?
Weird shit.
Yeah.
There's always murders and weird shit in the city. I can't even list them all off because there's a lot of them. But if you're really interested, I'd suggest you pick up some, go and get some of the back issues of one of the English-speaking newspapers. I'd highly recommend the Shanghai Courier.
I was planning on. That's exactly actually where I was going to go. I was going to hit the Shanghai Library, do a little of my library usage on the English language papers, and look for the weird shit we're used to seeing.
Don't you have to pay to use the Shanghai Library?
I'm gonna say that you can probably get that done. Or you could go to the offices of the Shanghai Courier.
Yeah, I think we should do that later on. Plus, we have a few other things to do.
I want to get a little information before we head over to the Shanghai Courier, just to arm ourselves if we can seem to be more knowledge.
I need to make some contacts anyway. If we could get back to the hotel, I can see if anything's been left for me from my connections.
So why don't you do that? I'll head to the library.
So on the street map here, the library is here. The Shanghai Courier is here.
All right.
Cool. So it's hit up the library first, then hit the courier,
and then
right. So we also know who maybe to ask for.
Oh, Keeper, was there anything there at the hotel for me when we first got in? Because I had asked about contacts in Shanghai.
No, you're they told you on the boat that they don't have any agents on the ground in Shanghai.
All right.
All they could tell you is which customs agents were able to be bribed
Right.
so that you could smuggle all your contraband weapons in without question.
I assume there's a obviously probably a ambassador, not ambassador, but you know what I mean, an English house here. You know, like a sort of like an ambassador or something like that, or at least a.
There is an American consulate here, and your hotel is just up the street over here.
So there's not a British consulate.
There is also a British consulate down here. I forgot you're not playing an American.
Yeah.
There's a British consulate here.
All right, and that's near the library, right?
The library is down here.
All right. Well, when we're heading,
7 is the British consulate, 10 is the library, and 8 is the Shanghai Courier.
and we're at the Stumbling Tiger, and that's near.
You're up over here.
All right, so we could hit the British consulate first, then the library, and then the other. What do you guys think?
Cool.
Well, I thank the bartender for the very fine scotch.
You're welcome, gents. I hope you'll come in for a drink again sometime soon.
I suspect this is going to be our regular watering hole.
Very good.
And
Yay, tuberculosis. Um,
that's the least of my concerns at this time point.
While I lost internet, what did we know about Hofang import-exports aside from people fear Hofang?
The only thing he told you is that Hofang is very dangerous,
Yeah, I think I
and
got back for that part.
untouchable by local Chinese officials, and that he has a house in the French concession that's like a fortress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And once we leave this place, and we can kind of talk to, because I only want to buy. When we can talk to ourselves, I'm gonna mention to you guys that I think very much like in Egypt, this whole Fang is connected to the bloated, connected somehow to the Dragon Island and the cult. I mean, I don't know about you, but every time we've gotten a card with someone's name on it that hasn't been part of the Carlisle group, it's been someone way up at the top. I mean, in England, we had Gavigan with that card with Gavigan's name. We had that thing dealing with from Egypt, that the name of I can't even think of his name now, but he was nasty. I'm thinking the same thing with Ho Fang, particularly since we had documentation of Gavigan and a couple others being in contact with that guy. It smells bad, real bad.
Right, and we also get the letter from the Pale to the Pale Viper
Mm-hmm.
About dealing with Jack Brady.
Yeah.
And there was also something from New York that says how Brady and Carlisle were inseparable.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna head to the British consulate first.
Okay. What are you going to try to get done at the British consulate?
I'm just going to, make sure they know I'm in town, since I am one of their assets. And give them a basic rundown of why I'm here. Have the same story I've given in Egypt. Basically, I'm tracking down an international gang that might be also political, that might cause issues for British interests. Just making sure I'm running my stuff to the ground to make sure there's nothing to it. But what I'm also interested in is if we have a British naval connections, if the British, when they had kind
So
of control this
there's
area.
no one from British intelligence at this consulate.
All right.
It's just a regular consulate. As
All
I
right.
told you, you don't have any contacts in this city in the intelligence agency.
All right. Well, I'm just letting them know that I am in town. then.
Okay.
So they're at least aware of that. And I'm not planning on making any waves, just checking some stuff out that I had run into in England and Egypt.
Again,
Let's
you're
see.
just talking to a low-level diplomat.
Yeah. All right.
You know.
Yeah. Well, I'm just letting
He's
him.
going to look at
then-
you like you have 6 heads if you start
Yeah.
talking about weird
Then I just say
cult shit.
that let's let him know he knows, and if he moves it up the chain, they will know why I'm here.
Okay.
But other than that, and then we just move on to the library.
Okay.
Sorry, there, guys.
All right, let me do some get the old-fashioned library use and see what I'm looking for. Go through the English language, looking for, just like I said, the weird shit that we're normally used to looking for.
Nice.
Anything pop up?
Okay. So you spend the better part of you spend pretty much the rest of the day here at the library going through things. There are a number of articles mentioning victims that have all been slain in an identical fashion. Their arms were severed from their bodies. No sharp instruments were left at the scenes of the crimes, and the victims were apparently unrelated except in their manner of death. Recently, as many as 2 victims per month have been found. All the victims were poor and without any influence. A madman or a secret cult have been suggested, something the police appear keen to deny. These aren't the only odd deaths, though. There are also several reports spanning the last years where victims were apparently mauled to death during robberies at their homes. There's no apparent connection between the victims, and the police are baffled as to the cause. In very recent news, you find 3 newspaper articles that kind of catch your eye and stand out to you, and I'm going to pop these up in the stream and show them to you. The first one is from 6 weeks ago. Seamen's Club damaged. A portion of the Seamen's Club was destroyed late last night. Inspectors report considerable damage to the riverside of the institution in excess of £8,000 sterling, according to underwriters. No injury or loss of life is reported. According to unconfirmed, though informed speculation, seepage undermined a portion of the embankment area upon which the club stands, causing the collapse. Revelers from nearby taverns, who were congregating along the riverbank at the time of the incident, swear that strange creatures emerged from the water shortly before the building came down. The revelers' stories, while far-fetched, were a momentary relief to the risky business of sorting through the rubble.
Damn deep ones. There goes the neighborhood.
I want to check that out.
Island. Are they breeding with the locals? Has anyone got like protuberant eyes and stuff?
This is how Delta Green became a thing.
Disturbed by the seepage.
Okay. You also find from 4 weeks ago this one, fire on Chinling Road. 3 monks have been found dead in a pavilion fire at the Garden of the Purple Clouds of Autumn. They are thought to have died due to an overturned brazier. The names of the deceased have not yet been released, but a reliable source indicates that all 3 were respected scholars of the Tang, 5 dynasties, and Song literature. Their deaths are profound loss to all who value China's great heritage. Eyewitnesses remarked that the evening fire leapt in an uncanny fashion from one blazing structure to chase the fleeing monks into a second pavilion. A floating cloud of fire followed them, according to Mr. Liu Chendai of Brilliant Poppy Lane. A European was seen leaving the vicinity of the conflagration. Police respectfully ask for this individual to come forward and give his assistance in their investigation. And then, 2 days ago, you saw this newspaper article was published.
We've got water and fire. If this one's lightning, we're in trouble.
Violent incident on Lantern Street. Police report murders at the premises of 88 Lantern Street sometime after midnight last night. The victims were identified as Miss Ruperta Wong, resident at the address, and Mr. Chin Sai Chow. My Chinese is really bad, sorry, Carl and George, whose address was unavailable at the time of publication. Lantern Street habituates, normally not noted for compassion, were taken aback by the cruelty of the crimes. One witness was so distraught that she identified the killer as a giant bat. Police Inspector Chong indicates that the slayings were unusually violent. He requests anyone with knowledge either of Miss Wong or Mr. Chin to make themselves known to his inquiry.
Well, dollars to donuts. I think the deep ones are hanging out in Dragon Island. That sounds pretty familiar.
Fire, water, and bats.
Was one of the cult something, bat something to begin with?
Yeah, I think there was some stuff about bat cults in Australia.
Can we find anything out about these monk in the library? Anything about this temple and these monks? What they were, what this temple is about, and what these monks were particularly studying?
Or
Sure,
also the other. Sorry.
Make a library use roll.
Boy, well, I gotta give it a try. So.
Out of curiosity, are those locations on?
Oh
this
my
map?
God!
Oh wow!
So,
all the things he learned, all the things.
All right. I will look up in a second what these monks do. So the Lantern Road is where you just were.
Right.
That number 10 Lantern is where the Stumbling Tiger bar is.
Okay. That's next to the library.
Yep. The Seamen's Club is number 17 on this list, on this
Right.
map, which is right here. And I don't know that this... The other places, okay, so this garden is not directly on the map. I'll show you where it is in a second, but...
No rush, but basically there's no clear pattern or very closely grouped geographical area.
No, they're not one right next to each other.
Yeah. Okay, just wanted to make sure and establish that.
Okay. So, what you know about this is that that these are that it's just a Buddhist a Buddhist temple that is just behind the. So the garden in question is just behind the town god's temple in the old city, and it's a Buddhist temple. So this is the old city here. This right here, number 20, is the town god's temple.
That wasn't too far away from the Seamen's Club. Maybe we can investigate the two of those sites and
Right.
see what's going on around there.
Yeah, because I was definitely thinking of checking out, finding out what more about that temple and the priest, but also about the lady, the one that got killed by the bat, because it doesn't really say what they do. And it'd be kind of interesting to know what their professions or what they did that might bring that type of doom upon them.
What did they stumble into?
I really wasn't expecting to get that role. I was like, wow.
Is China 3 related to the information we unearthed about people who've been mauled over the past year?
So you found these three. They stuck out the most because they all mentioned either some sort of monsters or strange happenings, and happened within the last couple of weeks. China 1 was 6 weeks ago, China 2 was 2 weeks ago, and China 3 was 2 days ago.
Is there a place where one would sign in at the library to use the library?
If you're not taking things out, they just let you in.
Okay.
If you want to take things out, then you'll need to, especially since you're out of towners, you'll need to sign up and give them a deposit for any things that you would wish to take out.
See if try to talk to the I'm going to try to who runs the library?
It's run by the city.
All right.
The librarian.
The library. Let's see. What's my charm? What's my
Well, you're going to be at an extreme disadvantage because
the Chinese,
you have a 10% in Chinese.
All right, then I'm not going to attempt to do that. All right, and I will.
Wouldn't the Shanghai Library be run by National Settlement?
I guess you are technically in the English side of the settlement, but it's run by, it's
because like libraries are pretty much almost unheard of in China proper at this time.
Okay. I'm still gonna say that while the settlement puts it up, it's staffed by a lot of Chinese folks, and so if you're gonna be making if you're gonna be trying to make rolls here, you're one of the either you're gonna need to make a
bribery. It always works for the Shanghainese, even today.
Actually, according to the history, it was actually first library run by the Chinese.
Oh, there we go.
But bribery still works even to today. Definitely true.
Question about the articles that we found.
Yes.
Were they perchance written by the same individual, or were they the same byline, so to speak, or not really? Seems to be no through line there.
There are no bylines on the articles, so you don't know.
Okay, fair enough. Because they could have given us somebody to ask at the Courier.
Okay, what is your next move, guys?
You want to hit the? Well, it's pretty much late for the day, so we probably can't hit
Yeah,
the.
you're at the end of business hours. It's 6 o'clock by the time that you've done all of the snooping through the archives here.
Why don't we return to where we're staying, grab a meal, brainstorm for what we want to do next. If we're going to the newspaper to figure out what we're going to be, who we want to speak to, and what do we want to ask.
We
Okay.
should enjoy some of the world famous Shanghai nightlife before the Japanese blow it all up.
So go for another drink. I'm in.
See if there's a Panda Express in the food court.
So what's there? Is there anything like a Singapore sling? It's a famous drink that comes out of here that you know tourists got to try.
You know,
I think that was Trader Vic's.
I did not look at when the. Yeah, I think Singapore Sling actually was Trader Vic. It wasn't or Jerry Thomas, one or the other. I don't think it actually came from Singapore.
It was the whole West Coast tiki bar drink explosion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you going to try to do anything else with your evening this game day?
I don't think we're just going to get to the hotel and figure out what we're going to do the next day. I mean, it seems that we got quite a few things to look into. And what do you guys think?
Go from most recent to least recent?
Yeah, I'm thinking the bat thing, since that's the most recent. But you want to check that the newspaper place first, because they would probably have reports. And Jackson Elias, he probably hit that place.
Well, let's face it. Any good reporter they're going to have material which they can't print, right? Because of either censorship or moral standings or whatnot, right? There's just a certain amount of stuff where it's like, depending on the paper, right, that they're just going to go, that's too insane for us to print, or we can't print, it's too graphic or whatever. So they're going to have a bit more stuff that was between the lines that we might not have grasped because we're not locals to.
Yeah, so I think maybe that might be our first spot.
Okay.
While we wait to see if someone else contacts us, they know where we're at. If Brady feels it's safe to talk to us, he will. Because I'm quite sure he knows he's being hunted down too.
We need to find the ace reporter and the editor for the newspaper and buy them lots of drinks.
So yeah, I think we're just going to try to get a good night's rest. Maybe try to definitely going to prop a chair against the door. Just because we've dealt with enough crap already.
Okay.
I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, we're going to have a meal at the hotel, probably have a sniffer. But I think tomorrow we should definitely check out the newspaper and maybe check out the area where the lady was attacked. Is that in the international area, or is that in the Chinese area?
Literally 3 doors down from the bar that you are at.
All right, then that's where we can hit the bar. Or actually, we could hit the bar first and see what he knows. It's his area.
Has he seen Batman?
I was thinking about that.
I think that might give us some information. Yeah, so we're gonna do that.
So I've heard 2 different things. Are you going to the newspaper, or are you going to the the scene of the most recent.
I think we're going to go to the
Violent
newspaper
incident.
first,
Okay.
and then
Yeah.
we're going to go to the bar and then
Okay.
the scene, because a bar might have some information since it's so nearby that he knows that we might, he might let us know who we can talk to or who might give us information.
Yeah, plus we might pick up some more that generally from the same thing at the newspaper, but in a more broader sense for the rest of the areas instead of wandering around blind. Especially since now that we're focused and we have an idea of what to ask them about.
Plus, the bar seems to be a good place to meet up and have a drink. And
Okay. Very good. Okay. You head over to the Shanghai Courier. So you walk in, and there is a younger-looking Chinese man in there, and he's dressed very very nicely in Western style clothing with neat slicked back hair. And he says, "Gentlemen, hello. How can I help you? My name is Anthony Chang, and this is my newspaper."
nice to meet you, Anthony Chang. I give my name, Louis Lipon, and we've in town, and we had read a couple interesting articles and a couple things, and we were hoping to. A friend of ours might have come here to gain some information, or might have gone through your archives. You might have known him as Jackson Elias. He would have been here, and I kind of give him the rough date of when he might have been in Shanghai.
So he kind of looks. He says, "No, I'm sorry. I don't recognize that name."
Use a psychology roll to see if he's lying.
Sure. Go ahead and roll it.
Sure. Since I'm talking to him, I probably would do so also, because I expect everybody to lie to me.
You both believe that he is telling the truth, that he does not recognize Jackson's name.
Okay. Yeah, we were interested in getting a little bit more. There was a couple stories that we found interesting, and we were wondering if we could find out a little bit more about them. One is this incident at the Siemens.
Yes. So he says, "Oh yes, I remember this article." So I will admit we're a small paper, so I was the writer on most of these articles in the last few months. I've got some stringers that do some work for me, but I do most of the final writing and editing myself. The paper had fallen on hard times, and when I recently came back to China from getting my education at Oxford, my father, who owns this as well as many of his other businesses, he kind of tasked me to try to put things right here on the paper.
As soon as he says Oxford and a couple other things, that gets me tingling in a certain way. Do I get a sensation that, by the way he's talking to other things, that he might be something else?
I will give you your roll from the last psychology. You get the feeling that you might have run in certain international espionage circles before.
When he says put this paper right, is he talking, get the sense, do we know, or do I have to come out and ask him? Does he mean financially or reputation wise, or quality wise, the stories
Are you,
they're telling?
so that was what he said. Are you asking him?
Yeah, I'll come out if it's not clear. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. He says. Oh, financially, the paper was in ruins for a number of years. Circulation dwindling, um, and so I'm here to try to put things to rights.
And how is that going?
Well, it's slow. I've only been at it for about a year. Um, it's slow going, but I'm doing what I can, and circulation is starting to come up a little bit.
So how long have you been here?
A little more than a year.
Well, I understand trying to bring up things to family, to family standards is a tough job. Um, the other story that we were kind of interested in is this, um, and it's only because we had been over in that neighborhood for a drink, is this strange story about some attack by a large bat.
Yes, unfortunate that the poor girl who survived the attack, she appeared to be on the brink of madness. She just kept saying that it was a large, giant bat with huge gaping maw and giant black wings, and that it had appeared out of nowhere. Um, as he's saying this, all of your spidey sense starts tingling, and this sounds an awful lot like the thing that attacked you at the mosque back in Egypt.
Mm. And what is this? What is this girl's profession, or what was? It seems awfully strange for this kind of story. What was her profession, or um, was it just her who was? It sounded like there was her and someone else that was attacked.
Well, there were the two people um, that were killed. You do. I'm sorry. You do know what neighborhood this is, right?
Yes, I
It
do.
this it was a this is a flower girl's house.
Ah, okay.
Um, for those of you who don't know the term, Martin kind of nudges you and says, "Yeah, no, it's a brothel."
I think we need to check that out, for science.
Mm.
Yeah, that's kind of odd.
Mm.
The two people that were in the room were brutally murdered. It was another girl who was there who uh, witnessed the events.
Mm. What about
Where's
these
she
two
been?
that were killed? Anything unique about them?
It was Flower Girl and her client.
Anything about the client?
Uh,
Why?
I couldn't find anything else out.
Okay.
I mean, you're welcome to.
What happened to the survivor?
I believe that she was hospitalized.
No, I said the other story that kind of interested us is this attack on a temple.
Yes, that was very strange. So make make another library use roll.
Here, let me-
I'll let. So I close this.
Here, I'm going to spend the 7 points and make it. Is that okay?
Yeah. Yep, you burn 7 luck and make it. So he pulls out the newspaper from his article, his archive to look that over with you, and you notice something weird. That the weather for that entire day was unusually humid and windless. Not likely conditions for a mobile fire.
Hmm.
Jesse, with his insane recall, remembers that the stories of what happened to Faraz Najjar's first shop seem eerily similar to the story of this fire that just moves all around on its own.
Repetitive, isn't it?
Anything
So-
else that you'd like to that I can tell you, gentlemen?
Was there something about the series? Or is that just the monks, that the people that ritualistically killed?
I'm
No,
sorry.
the arms.
That wasn't in any of
Different.
these articles.
Mhm.
Now, out of curiosity, yeah, I do have one. What were these monks specifically known for? It seems that they mentioned a significant loss to the Chinese. What was their speciality?
They were just Buddhist monks, but we revere them.
Ah, okay. I thought they did other things as well. Were they particularly well known for in the community?
As well as any other.
Ah, okay. All right.
Sorry, before I had my coughing fit, I think, Sean, you were saying something?
Yeah, there's no article, but you had mentioned a series of ritualistic murders.
Yes, there were. So there's. I don't have a handout for that, but there were over the last year, there were a number of articles that you saw that talked about people that were murdered and had their arms severed from their bodies. And no sharp instruments were left at the scenes of the crimes, and the victims were apparently unrelated except in their manner of death. And recently, as many as 2 victims per month have been found.
So it's everywhere we go. There seems to be this history of ritualistic killings. New
Maybe
York,
it does.
London, etc. Does he have any details, or what's the authorities doing on this?
The authorities have mentioned it's been mentioned in I've written about it in my papers that the um, that a madman or a secret cult have been suggested, but the police are keen to deny that fact.
Don't we know it? I said we've had experiences elsewhere with similar things where, when the police don't have an answer that's readily available, and the killings continue.
So he says I've heard rumors about a cult operating in the city. They call themselves the Order of the Bloated Woman. Um, I honestly believe it's just another criminal gang using old legends to boost their notoriety amongst their fellow hoodlums and victims.
We heard something about a shipping company. What was the name of that island? I looked at it here.
I go, yeah, it's operated by someone, and I look around. Is there anyone near him?
You guys are alone in the newspaper office with
Yeah. Instead I just take a piece of paper.
Nigel.
I write out the name and hand it to him.
What name are you writing?
Ho Fang.
Yes, Mr. Ho. He's a powerful businessman. I suspect he's probably involved in criminal activity, but then again, most local entrepreneurs in Shanghai are. It honestly would be more unusual if he wasn't.
All right. I just didn't want to say something that might offend people, and we had heard things of that nature, but one always must be careful about offending someone's reputation.
Yes. Either way, accusing such a man without hard proof would be a foolish thing to do, which is why I've certainly never written such things in my
Oh
in my
yes,
newspaper.
yes, people like that are very powerful and have powerful friends, and one does not want to cross that unless you have real proof and real protection.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a thing we've seen before, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I said,
So there's been no commonality linking any of these victims.
No.
No business ties, no familiar ties, nothing.
The only thing I'll tell you is that the political situation in China is growing more and more unstable by the day, and this is extremely evident here in Shanghai. Private militias are popping up all over the city. Corruption is rife. Criminal gangs are feeding on profits. There's much happening in the city below the surface.
and you have the fluctuations from the left and from the right to do believe in this town. I go, oh, there, what was? Because I know we asked this, but I know you didn't get a chance to give us. What were the descriptions that the revelers saw at the Siemens event?
At the Siemens Club?
Yes, I mean, just that. Obviously, it's too far fetched to believe, but I'm kind of curious what it was.
I don't this was like 6 weeks ago. As I said in the article, one of the one of the gentlemen who was in one of the nearby taverns swore that strange creatures emerged from the water right before the building came down, but I don't know how
Reliable.
reliable. He'd had a bit to drink. It was obvious from the smell of his breath. So between you and I know that sensational things like this sell newspapers, and we've had circulation problems. So I'm trying to do what I can to revive the paper, and sometimes that means printing things that rational
Ah,
people might not necessarily believe, but if people are saying it, then I'll write it.
if it
Oh,
bleeds,
no,
it
that,
leads.
yeah. You're here to get the business going. Later on, once you are financially stable, you can build a reputation of fine news. But sometimes you have to add a little bit of
The dramatic.
glitz, the dramatic and glitz and other things.
Quite.
I understand that one. Well, I wish you luck with your endeavors. We may come to you later on if we have more information. You are doing a fine job here, it
Well,
seems to me.
thank you very much, and you gentlemen enjoy your day and have a safe time in the city.
Yes. Um, and considering vibe I got, and knowing that he probably has dollars, says, and if you ever see um, Sir Smith again, let me know. And I give a little nod, and we'll.
He nods back and gives you a high sign and says, "I see. Well, you have some illustrious company. Please do let me know if I can be of any assistance to you."
Mm-hmm. All right, now just like you, tracking down some leads of some stuff that I've um, noticed in um, the home country and also in Egypt, and seems to have led me here. So if I find out anything, since obviously you'll need to have some news. As I find out, I'll let you know what I can give you out.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a feeling we're going to need the contacts to some ship, somebody with a boat at some point.
Yes, in fact, yeah, we may. Would you have any recommendations for who to hire if we did want to get someone to boat us around town or into the harbor area?
Not off the top of my head, but I will check around and either and can I leave you a message at your hotel?
Yes, you may. And I give them the card to the hotel, and I put down our room number.
Perfect. All
Because
right.
we're going to be going to a creepy island again to go and fight some cultists at some point.
Kind of reminds me of that place, Messer House. It was almost like an island.
Yeah. Like I said, there's a lot of callbacks.
Well, the volcano kind of reminded me of that one. Was it Live and Let Die? Or no, not Live and Let Die. I can't even remember which one, but it's the one with Sean Connery flying the little mini helicopter.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
You only live twice?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's it. You only live twice.
Live and Let Die was the voodoo one.
Yeah,
Yes.
voodoo.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking that
I got to do a binge watch of those again.
Yeah, I've been going through Buffy recently. It's been a number of years since I've watched Buffy, and thought, time to watch that again. There's some good stuff there.
Doing Man from U.N.C.L.E., the originals.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that's good too. Always good stuff.
All right, guys. I'm just realizing we never actually took our break earlier. We were about to, and then Carl dropped off, and I was thinking, okay, maybe I'll take a break, and we'll try to get him back at the break. And then he popped back in right as I was about to say that, and then I got distracted by something, and we never actually broke. So I'm going to say this is probably a good place for us to end for the night. It's about 10 minutes early, and that would have made up for it on the break.
Yeah.
and that way we can pick it up here at our next session. 2 weeks
Going to a
from
bar.
2 weeks from perfect. 2 weeks from today, good for everybody.
Yeah, Father's Day.
Is that good or bad
20
for people
That's
meeting?
fine by me.
Good.
I think it's good.
Yeah, this way I guarantee I'll be left alone.
Perfect.
It's like, you want to give me something for Father's Day? Yeah, leave me alone.
Yeah, Michelle says it's okay.
Awesome. All right. Well, then, thank you all very much for coming out and playing tonight. It was good to get the story moving, and I think I'm still thinking that there's a good chance of us finishing this game off this calendar year.
Oh, I think so.
Which holidays were you referring to?
Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, that general time frame.
Yeah,
Next
I think
Memorial
we.
Day.
Yeah, I think we handled the Jack Brady thing correctly, because that way it gives him the choice of meeting up with us. I don't want to try to, because I figure he knows he's being chased. But yeah.
Well, we're gonna find Jack one way or another.
Yeah, that's true. We got enough scary stuff to deal with. That's for sure.
Okay.
And the
Well.
Pale Viper probably as well.
And don't forget flying bats.
You're gonna find a lot of stuff. All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, and we will see all of you in 2 weeks. Those of you watching live, thank you for tuning in. Please follow, like, and subscribe, and we will all go insane together a little bit more next time. Take it easy, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
Yeah.